God, so many people that liked Rogue One. How? I'm out of touch, dude. I can't do it anymore. I should just stop watching movies. Maybe it's just an age thing. I don't know. My problem with this movie is that there was really just nothing good about it. Like, I don't know.
Why, hello.
Oh, shit. I shouldn't watch these fucking reviews, dude, because I don't know how much they color my opinion. It's hard for me to say. Did people actually like Episode 7 over Rogue One? Well, Episode 7 at least had a coherent story and some cool scenes. I guess in Episode 7, I guess the ending, like, spaceship fights were pretty cool, but, like, that was the only redeeming thing in the entire... Or wait, did I say Rogue One? In Rogue One, like, the only cool scene in, like, all of Rogue One... You had, like, the monk dude killing people, but you don't really know anything about the monk at that point. I don't know, you don't care that much. And then you had, the spaceships at the end, but... Episode 7, the super evil First Order with the 20-year-old admiral of the fleet. I mean, main characters tend to be young so that aspie retards like you can identify with the characters. That's why when you go and you turn on Cartoon Network and you look at all of the animes there, that's why all of the main characters that are heading military organizations are literally in their fucking teens or 20s. If you look at an anime like Gundam Wing, for example, all 5 Gundam pilots are 15 years old. And people like Trey's... Fuck, what was this guy's name? I don't think I'm spelling that right. Oh, maybe I was. I'm pretty sure that even this guy is like in his fucking 20s. He's 24 years old, and he's like the head of... Fuck, what is the name of the... Oh, I don't remember. It's not uncommon to see young characters in places that they don't really belong because they're not old enough, so that because it's a show or a movie that's meant for children. And it's supposed to give you something more to relate to. There is a reason I stopped watching child protagonist trash. Whoa, well then don't watch it, and at least recognize that that's your opinion. Star Wars are movies that are meant for families and children. Like, end of discussion. If you disagree with that, you're just wrong. And if you go to it judging it as an adult film, you're just stupid. Star Wars have always been movies meant for children. That's some of the reasons why some of the prequels caught so much flack. Is because they included such weird, bizarro, like, Senate meeting, hearing things, and, like, murdering children that kids probably aren't that interested in. But Star Wars' movies have always been for, like barely adolescent kids and families, like, family films, like... Did you like Episode 7 or Rogue One more? It's easy. It's not even close. I liked Episode 7 more. I thought that Episode 7 was an okay movie. Like, and it was. If somebody comes up and says that Episode 7 was absolute fucking trash, I sound like an SJW, but I have to wonder if there are, like, some ulterior motives going on. If you really hated the fact that there was a female lead or that there was, like, the black dude, I'm not sure. Like, Episode 7 was an okay movie. There were some definite shit parts to it. Obviously, the main character suffers from Mary Sudom. It's a definite thing. I thought that everything having to do with Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon was kind of meh, and it also retreaded on a lot of A New Hope's old ground. You probably could have made that movie without that Star Killer base in it whatsoever. There were definitely problems, but overall, it was an okay movie. Like, I didn't feel like I wasted my time watching it. There were enough things that were entertaining about it. The movie looked really cool. The characters were okay, even if the main character suffered from some issues, but it was eh. Rogue One had, like, nothing redeeming in it except for, like, the funny robot dude. Like, Rogue One was just not... It just was not good. It felt like a waste of time. I don't say it too often, but if I wasn't with Aaron, I might have walked out of Rogue One. After the first hour, I think I might have left. I just hated that it was a reskinned New Hope. No, you don't hate that it was a reskinned New Hope. You read a bunch of comments online that said that it was a New Hope reskin, and that's why you hate it, because you're parroting opinions from other people that you've read online. You personally don't have any problems with movies retreading old ground. I know this, and I can say this definitively, because statistically speaking, you more than likely don't care about rehashes, because superhero movies are the most popular form of movie in the fucking world right now. And all of these things spin their budgets in their fucking head and make hundreds of millions of dollars, okay? So I'm a little skeptical when a bunch of people are like, I don't like it when people rehash new blah blah blah. Oh shit, the Avengers 2 budget fucking gross $1.5 billion. Like, okay, dog. I don't think that you have that much of a problem with fucking rehashes when comic book hero movies are the most profitable fucking movie in the entire history of the universe, all right? I don't know if I'm buying that right there. Sounds more like you read something online that says that, oh, it was a race guy New Hope, and that's like your go-to criticism of, like, the movie. Like, Why do you say this all the time? Superhero movies are not rehashes. Pokemon Challenge. How many times? How many times do we have to watch Uncle Ben die in a 5 years time span? Come on, dude. I'm not much of a movie critic. What do you look for in a movie? Well, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I mean, like, if I'm going as, like, a casual movie goer and I'm not looking for anything, like, deeper or more from the movie, which most of the time I just want to be entertained. Is it entertaining? I don't know. Rogue One just wasn't very entertaining. There was nobody to like in the movie. Like, who are your characters? Is it the Destiny brand to hold strong opinions? Every time I see him disagree, he doesn't seem to give another side a fair shake and acknowledge good parts of arguments. He is so polarizing. Well, because these movies are really fucking bad, and it's really irritating. I don't know. I don't like to waste my time going to see really fucking bad movies, and it sucks. I don't understand how they get such widespread critical acclaim. I really don't. Like, and I try my hardest to see, like, and I'm more than reasonable on some things. Like, there are movies that I don't really like that much. Like, Episode 7 was a movie that I didn't really like that much, but I thought it was okay. Like, I try to be reasonable, but, like, I really just don't understand. Like, I don't understand how this movie pulls, like, an 85% from Rotten Tomatoes. Like, these kinds of critical or audience scores just don't make sense to me. Like, judging by scores alone and by what I'd heard a lot of people say, I was expecting to go and see a pretty good movie. Like, this movie wasn't. This movie was pretty fucking bad. It was pretty fucking bad. The first hour of this movie dragged so hard. Oh my God. The first hour. When I was tempted to walk out. Like, the first hour of this movie was painfully fucking slow. Jesus Christ. Like, and there are so many problems with the narrative, like substantial problems. Episode 7, I don't think Episode 7 had any massive problems with the narrative. The biggest problem I could think of with Episode 7, in terms of how the story was constructed, was the inclusion of the killing of the new Death Star. I think that maybe that whole plot line should have been abandoned, and they should have focused on the search for Luke and the development of the Rey character. And then they could have interwoven all the other aspects into it. Han Solo and his angsty Linkin Park son and everything. They could have woven that into that adventure. That was probably the biggest. But I mean, the Starkiller base was there and it worked kind of. I mean, like, it made sense. But this movie, Rogue One, was incoherent as fuck. I guess for some examples, the black guy, his entire involvement in the movie could have been axed, and you would have lost nothing of interest. Nothing of value would have been gone from that movie. And that's like 20 minutes of screen time? Everything having to do with the black dude and that whole thing could have been gone. Like, I don't know what the fuck the point of him even being in the movie was. Like, yeah, save the rebellion, I'll just stay here and die. Like, he died for no reason. Yeah, like, they try, and it seemed like they were going to build him up to be a character. Like, they spent a lot of screen time on a guy that they were going to pointlessly kill before he contributed whatsoever to the plot. Except you'd lose Jin's entire motivation. Thanks, you fucking retard. If only there was some other scene or some other way we could have gotten her to see that fucking hologram. Or maybe the pilot could have just ran into those guys instead of going through the black guy. If only, But what I'm actually saying is you should actually just take an editor and cut out that entire 20 minutes of the movie and not replace it with anything. You got me, dude. I'm sorry. I'll speak more. Like, I'll try to tell you exactly, like, step by step what I'm talking about so that you don't get lost because your head is the density of a fucking black hole, okay? My bad, dude. Yeah. So when I say you could axe this entire part of the movie, obviously you would have to replace it with something else to give Jin Rummy the ability to meet the fucking autism pilot dude and get the hologram somehow. All of this shit is just building the characters you're supposed to care about, cutting the characters. Yeah, but you don't really build any of the characters in this movie. Like, that's the problem. Like, yeah, Appelas. I think the black dude was there because they wanted to make the Rebel Alliance seem more edgy by having a fundamentalist terrorist-style freedom fighter, but they never expanded on that at all. I kind of thought, and here's a problem that a lot of movies have today that I've criticized Interstellar, right? Is these movies don't have these tonal centers, right? Where I thought that 10 minutes in, I thought that the movie was going to flesh out the rebels a lot more. I thought that we were going to see, like, the rebels weren't these ubiquitously viewed good guys, and they actually had some terrorist elements to it, right? The first scene was set in a place that looks like a Middle Eastern place. It did. You had the one rebel dude backstab his friend or his ally or his informant or whatever early on, right? I thought we were going to see the rebels as some sort of borderline terrorist group before you were brought in and explained why what they were fighting for was noble or good or something, right? I thought that was going to happen, but that wasn't expanded upon at all. After they leave, like the fucking Egyptian pyramid place, after they leave that, nobody gives a fuck at all about any of that anymore. And then you don't see like anything else of the rebels for the rest of the fucking movie. Wait, what?
So I was on Twitter the other day.
Another. We need more racial diversity instead of realistic narrative meme. Nothing in this movie had anything to do with racial diversity or anything like that. Well, thanks, buddy. Do you like Star Wars in general? You complain that the first hour is slow, but what do you consider slow? No action scenes? Star Wars has a lot of those slow moments. No, but usually Star Wars is building or expanding upon characters. I'm pretty sure that we could go through at least A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. I really don't remember anything about Return of the Jedi except for like the ending hour of that movie. And usually in the first hour, you've got a lot of character development going on. But this movie had so many fucking characters. Oh my God. There were so many characters in this movie. It was like, how do you even follow them all? And most of them were pointless. Like the girl's dad, like the whole first scene is retarded. So the girl's running away. The mom comes running back. I don't know why. She came running back to die. She just comes running back and shoots the dude and gets killed. Like, that was retarded. I don't understand. So the woman...
Scumbag Prime resub. Enjoy.
Nice. The woman comes back and dies, and then the dad is working in the ship, and but the dad you never really care about because you don't really get any information about the girl's life and the dad. The girl's life is literally a blank slate from age 5 to 16, right? You find out from the black dude that I guess she had a combat past, like she was a soldier or something, but you don't really learn anything at all about her. And then she meets her dad, and her dad dies immediately. It's almost like Luna Freya in fucking Final Fantasy 15. Audio and video. Wait, you do learn about the dad? I'm talking about the dad and the daughter's relationship. There was nothing there. There was nothing there. So when they kill the dad, why is it sad? Because the music plays and tells you that you need to be sad, and because it's your dad? What was worse, Ghostbusters 2 or Rogue One? Listen, dude. Don't tell anybody. I thought Ghostbusters 2 was okay. Maybe it was because I was too young. But I liked the dancing Statue of Liberty, okay? Maybe I like Bill Murray too much. I don't know. Maybe if I rewatched it, Ghostbusters 2 would be super shit. But I didn't think it was as bad as some people say it was. I don't know. I'm not sure, dude. I would have to go back and look. The ooze shit. Oh, because they turn their proton blasters into ooze blasters, don't they? Wow, thanks, JK Faked. Wait, what? Why are people calling me an SJW? Hold on. Hold on. Oh, no. You guys think that you guys don't know the difference between the new Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2. They probably thought you meant the remake. Hey, they did. You guys are fucking retarded. Get the fuck out of here. You guys are legit fucking retarded. Visit a fucking razor blade in your fucking throat. That is horrible, but you know what I mean. Because they're too young to know about the original Ghostbusters. Yeah, Apple is. Because these people are too young to know what the fuck Ghostbusters 2 even is. But they still get really fucking mad when you talk about the Ghostbusters remake. This is the perfect epitome of a fake fucking fan. There's so much irony. I can't even, the irony makes my brain explode. This is the same group of people. If a girl says, oh, I really like the Zelda games. Why are you even a real gamer? Are you even a real card gamer? Do you even know what Ghostbusters? Do you even know what Zelda is? Do you even know who Link is? Do you even are you a real It's holy shit, damn, dude. And then it's man, I kind of like Ghostbusters 2. Oh, you social justice warrior, you don't even blah, blah, blah. It's no, Ghostbusters 2 is a real movie. You know that, right? I'm not talking about the remake. Ghostbusters 2 is an actual fucking movie. Why would you pretend to be so upset about the Ghostbusters remake if you didn't even know there was a Ghostbusters 2? You clearly don't know fucking anything about the series. So why the fuck, or series, no, there's a better word for that. The movies? What about all the planet hopping they do in the first 20 minutes of Rogue? That was stupid. Well, it seemed like in Rogue, it seemed like they were obsessed with cramming every bit of fan service into the movie as possible. Franchise, yeah, that's what I was looking for. How badass was Darth Vader? Well, that's the sad thing about Rogue One, is that Darth Vader was the best part of Rogue One. And he didn't need to be in the movie at all. Your reason for liking 7 makes my head explode. Like, dog, I don't even know. Episode 7, whether you like it or not, or maybe I really have a hard time arguing for episode 7 because I have to figure out who I'm talking to first. And it sounds SJW as fuck, but it's the same thing when I argue with Trumples. Like, I have to find out, like, are you somebody that, like, hates women and Mexicans? Because if so, then we're arguing on a fundamentally different level than are you somebody that thinks that immigration is damaging to the economy of the United States, right? And you have to make that determination early on when talking to a Trumple or a Brexiter, right? To figure out, like, are you a racist fuck? Like, I don't know. But if you are, then we can at least have that conversation, right? And it's the same thing with episode 7, because episode 7 became so politicized. Like, it's hard to tell when I start arguing with somebody. I don't know, like, did you actually think that from a cinematic point of view that episode 7 was bad? Because there are arguments made there. Or do you just really not like women and black people? Like, I don't know. It's like really in your movies. Like, it's really hard. Like, I have to make that determination early on. Like, I feel like episode 7 had some very cool stuff. And it also had some very big problems. But, like, the ending fight scene with the lightsabers in episode 7 is, like, probably one of the coolest moments in the entire Star Wars history. Just because of how it was shot and because of how the fight was set up. Even if the character is a little bit of a Mary Sue. Like, her grabbing the lightsaber from the meme dude and then playing the fucking Jedi music and then having these, like, really, really, really light, heavy blue and red fucking lightsabers fighting. Like, that scene was really, really cool. It was really well done and it felt really good. Probably one of the cooler scenes in any of the Star Wars movies. The scene with the little fighter dude, flying around and all that shit and blowing up the dudes, and Finn is on the ground and you see, like, the expanded shot of the guy flying around and him being a pilot, and the relationship between Finn and that pilot dude when they first fly away, like, and even the relationship between Finn and Rey, even if Rey is a little obnoxious, which she is, are all, like, really well done. I hated Han Solo in that entire movie. I wish he wasn't even in it, to be honest. I didn't like Han Solo at all. But there were some cool things about episode 7. Like, yeah, when Finn picks up the lightsaber and tries to fight the one dude and can't really do it. Like, yeah, I think that episode 7 had some really cool moments. That being said, I don't think it was an amazing movie, but I don't regret seeing episode 7. Like, that's a movie that, like, if I would have known everything about it going into it, I would have went and watched it anyway, because it was cool. Rogue One, if I would have known everything going into it, I don't even think I would have wasted the bandwidth downloading it. Rogue One was just a bad movie. It was just not good. It just was not good. There wasn't anything. There's nothing you're going to remember. And people defending it in chat, I don't know. If this wasn't a Star Wars movie, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. It would be a box office flop that no one would care about, because there was nothing good in the movie at all. Like, save for, like, I guess, like, the monk dude beating up all the Star Troopers. That was kind of cool. The spaceship fighting at the end was pretty cool. It's kind of, but how can Rogue One not be a Star Wars movie? You'd have to remove 90% of the content. Well, yeah, but I mean, that's the thing, right? Rogue One, like, literally relies on being a Star Wars movie. If you were to replace the names and references to other things, you wouldn't care at all about the movie. It would just be a shit movie. No one would talk about it and be like, oh, yeah, that movie I saw, it was really weird. It was, like, really gritty, but, like, for nothing. Okay. This is another problem that I have when I argue with movies. Like, I don't know how many people are giving me their honest opinions versus people that are regurgitating things that if there was a really popular review or write-up that I missed and people are all regurgitating things from it, then I would know, like, either not to bother or, because I'm seeing this criticism a lot, but it absolutely doesn't feel true. Reposting, so Destiny is what I liked about Rogue One. What I liked about Rogue One was how much credence it gave to the Empire being a threat. I never felt that throughout the entire OG trilogy, that they were scary, especially when it comes to Vader. Like, I don't understand how you can say that when the only thing you see, like, I don't think the Rebel Alliance is attacked ever in this entire movie by the Empire. Like, you're just wrong. And I don't know if, I feel like that criticism, or not that criticism, I feel like that positive thing, I feel like that was given somewhere in a review, and now everybody parrots that. But, like, are you really going to tell me that the Empire that existed in this movie, that didn't assault the Rebels at all, a single time ever, was more of a threat than the Rebel Alliance, or than the Empire that was assaulting the Rebel Alliance at Hoth? You're going to tell me that this Empire, like, dude, oh god, it's been so long since I've seen these. And The Empire Strikes Back, they couldn't go anywhere Like, you got, like, what are you talking about? It was made out to be more of a gigantic empire. In The Empire Strikes Back, everywhere they went, the Empire was after them. In Cloud City, Darth Vader tainted, was it Lambo? The Lando? The black dude? He tainted that dude. He got him to capture Han and shit for him. They assaulted the rebel base at Hoth, giant fucking machines, and blew all that shit up and everything. It seemed like they were constantly fucking breathing down their neck, always. And you got that tension in The Empire Strikes Back. You got it. You got it from scenes. In this movie, I don't know. You don't really see. I mean, first of all, what does the Empire even do? They blow up the one Jebediah temple, and then you don't really see much of them as a threat for the rest of the movie. Fuck, the Empire, the Rebel Alliance is able to warp in a bunch of ships on like a really heavily defended position and fight them. Like, what do you mean?
Was a decent standalone film, but it didn't fit into the franchise. Suddenly every character and super weapon is 10 times better than the previous character. Rey is literally Luke, Leia, and Han Solo combined into one almighty demigod. Finn equals pointless.
Finn wasn't pointless. If you thought Finn was pointless, I don't know, you're reading too many weird reviews. Yeah, Rey had problems being a Mary Sue. It's a problem. I don't think it's enough to destroy an entire movie, but it was a problem. But I mean, power creep is also something very real that every movie's dealt with. There's very little tension. You know how the story ends, and it's not a shocker that everyone dies, so there's no reason to give a shit about literally anyone. So Red Letter Media said that. I remember that in the review because I did watch it last night. I wish I didn't because I don't know how much it'll taint my thoughts. Red Letter Media said that, and I totally disagree. I'm actually really surprised that they said that. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that was a tongue-in-cheek thing because it's one of the dumbest statements I've ever heard in my entire life, okay? Just because you know how something ends doesn't mean that there's not a story worth telling there, right? No. Full stop. Metal Gear Solid 3 was the best Metal Gear Solid game, period. And I will defend that statement to the death. And you already know how all of that is going to end. You know that the big boss guy is going to turn into a bad guy big boss. You know where Ocelot's going to go and how he's going to turn out. But that doesn't ruin any of the drama. Samurai X, Trust and Betrayal, is one of the best OVAs of any animated anything of all time, right? But you already know how that's going to end. You know that Kenshin is going to lose that wife and he's going to, turn into a big bad memer and then eventually go on to not kill anyone anymore because Rurouni Kenshin exists, right? So but that doesn't, just because you know how something's going to end doesn't render a prequel worthless. That's not what prequels are for. That's an absurd statement. I'm really surprised. I'm like I said, I'm going to assume that that statement was made tongue in cheek. I don't think that any of them would defend that statement literally. I don't think that they would defend that statement literally just because you know how it ends. It removes all of the tension. That's absolutely not true. The difference is that none of the characters in Rogue One matter, though. Oh, yeah, no, that's definitely a problem. Not only is that not a problem, well, so here's the thing. You can do one of two things, okay? You can have characters that will be killed at the end, but you can still develop them and work with them to make them cool, like the boss in Metal Gear Solid 3, right? You can still develop them and make you care about them before you kill them, which is fine. But you can't... You can't... Basically, every single person in Rogue One was Skullface from Metal Gear Solid 5. Right? This edgy guy summarizes the main problems with Star Wars Episode 7 pretty well. 17 minutes, dog.
This is probably one of Harrison Ford's worst performances, too. Hey! By the way, a lot of the original cast returned for this movie as geriatrics. Let's just get into it. The story begins with the Galactic Empire, the First Order, hunting down a rebel leader. A resistance pilot.
Oh, because it's retreaded old ground. Okay, got it. I don't care. Both new Star Wars movies were good. Don't listen to Destiny. I don't know. Is it a good movie? It's not a good movie. Episode 7 was fine. It had problems, but every new movie has problems, apparently. Episode 7 was fine. Episode 7 was a fine movie. And you can go and watch it, and you can recognize it has problems and still like it. I don't think Rogue One had anything redeeming at all. This is a movie that, had I been alone, I would have walked out after an hour, because it was that boring. And if I would have known what it was going into it, I would have never watched it. I would have never seen it. Similar to, I would put this movie on like the same level as Prometheus, where I just think it's a total waste of money. Nothing happens that I care about. I don't care about any of the characters. The narrative is objectively bad. The story is... I guess, okay. What about the dank as fuck Vader scenes? The Vader scenes are the best scenes in the movie, but they didn't really belong in that movie. Like, they didn't really need to be there, but they were really good. They were really fucking sick. Destiny, it's been a while since I watched your video about the Mary Sue problems in episode 7, but if I recall, you had a lot more issues with the movie back then. Did your opinion change on this, or am I misremembering? You are misremembering because you can only have a one-dimensional view of fucking everything. But that's okay, dog. A lot of consumers have the same problem. Episode 7 had a lot of problems, okay? I am not denying that. Episode 7 had a lot of problems. But at the end of the day, Episode 7, to me, sits in the same place as, like, the Ghostbusters remake, where it was an okay movie. It was fun if you didn't take it too seriously, and that's it, right? And it did enough to make it passable as a movie that was okay to watch and fun to watch, even though it had problems. It's not a movie that I'm probably going to remember 5 or 10 years from now. It's not going to go down as an awesome installment of Star Wars, and it's not going to be something that lives in, like, the archives of, like, best film ever. Definitely not, right? But it was okay at the time. It was okay. It was fun to watch. There were some cool scenes, like... I thought Rogue One was fun to watch if you didn't take it too seriously. How can Rogue One be fun, though? The entire movie is like a gritty, gloomy, depressed fucking... I don't want to say war film because it didn't have enough to even be considered a war movie. Have you ever watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy? Hell yeah, I have. It gets a little bit repetitive with the big battles, but the big battles are fucking awesome. The Lord of the Rings trilogy was pretty dank. Also, Lord of the Rings had dank as fuck characters. Yes, Lord of the Rings had very strong characters and a fairly large cast of characters. No, actually not. It was a pretty small cast of characters. Who were the important memers in Lord of the Rings? You had Frodo and his gay friend Sam. You had Gandalf the Wizard. You had Boromir dies, so fuck him. You have the pretty elf guy and then the little dwarf dude. And then you had Pansy Man with the sword. Erdogan, the turkey dude. And then and then you had you had some minor characters, the other Hobbit dudes. Lord of the Rings had a pretty focused cast of characters, and they were developed pretty well. Lord of the Rings was character-wise was a really was a really well done movie. Most characters in Lord of the Rings don't have arcs. I thought you would hate that. No, but the dialogue and the interaction of the characters made me like them, right? You can talk at length about these characters. And I don't know, I've never read the fucking Silmarillion or any of the Lord of the Rings books, and I don't even barely remember the movies. I barely remember those movies or what happened, but I could tell you a lot about the characters, right? I know that the dwarf dude is a really good dude deep down. He acts really selfish, and he's really, like, headstrong and really arrogant and whatnot. He's kind of like the typical archetypal dwarf, right? But he fills out really well, and he's a cool dude. The elf guy is, like, very much, and I think he's, like, a very honorable, bound by honor dude, but also really likes his friends and sticks with them and helps them, and is, like, a really good dude as well. I think there might have been more going on with him with the elf lady. Oh no, and then that was Aragorn, right? Aragorn is the up-and-coming to-be fucking king who's wrestling with his own internal demons and running away from responsibility, but ultimately accepts it at the end of the movie and overcomes his personal doubts about himself to become the fucking king with the fucking sword and shit. The wise old sage, the very typical archetypal mage guy is Gandalf. He stands in for that. Very intelligent, wise dude, very smart. Pretty much the standard, like, Dumbledore or old sage-esque Obi-Wan type character. And then you've got Frodo and Sam, who are very pure, very naive, right? Like, everybody in that movie fits a standard archetype, but the way that they interact with each other is really entertaining, and you like the characters by the end. If any of the characters, this is always my litmus test for a good character. If you kill a character, would it be a dramatic moment? If any of the main cast of Lord of the Rings would have died, it would have been a dramatic moment. It would have been very sad to see the elf dude or the dwarf dude or the Turkish PM. If any of these guys would have died, it would have been like a pretty sad scene, I think, right? Or Frodo or Sam or anything, right? And a lot of the drama relies on that. It relies on you liking the characters, you know? It often feels like you can't like movies if they don't have huge character arcs. No, I appreciate simple characters. It just depends on how they fit into the story. Like, if you look at The Matrix is a super insanely basic story. It is the hero's journey, the classic hero's journey, right? So I will give you a description of The Matrix that fits every shonen you've ever watched, right? You have a protagonist that comes up against an antagonist that they are hopelessly outmatched against, okay? Hopelessly outmatched against. The protagonist goes on a journey of self-discovery where he trains and becomes stronger and learns more about himself that he didn't know before. And then he comes back and at the last and most dramatic possible moment ever manages to overcome the antagonist, oftentimes to save his friends, right? This is the plot of every shonen. This is the plot of every season of Dragon Ball Z, of every season of Naruto, every season of Bleach, right? This is the plot of all of these shonens, right? And it's the plot of a lot of good movies because the heroes, it's the plot of Star Wars. Right? Really, episodes 4 through 7. This is the plot of Star Wars, right? Or 4 through 6, sorry. And it's also the plot of The Matrix, right? Like, these are very basic stories with very basic characters, but they're done well, right? There's a reason why the story of the hero's journey gets retold, like, so many times. Like, oh, Left Out refuses the call from the hero's journey. Oh, yeah, my bad. After the protagonist initially comes up against the antagonist and is unable to persevere, he refuses the call, but then eventually he is swayed over by either a romantic interest or some other thing that, yeah, sure. And before someone tells Dustin, the Griffins could have just flown there from the start. Nice meme. I don't think the Griffins and Gandalf, I don't think the Griffins liked humans that much or anything in the world. I think they were pretty indifferent to everything, right? They didn't give a fuck. Why the fuck would they have flown? I don't think they would have cared. Also, wouldn't Sauron's army have just shot him out of the sky, I think? I don't know. What do you think of Sing? Did you even see it? I don't know. Never even heard of it. I kind of want to see this movie. I should have just watched this instead. I wanted to see La La Land. I bet this movie would have been way better. And it's got fucking Gosling in it. But Destiny, The Matrix is basically Neo's arc, but in Lord of the Rings, most characters have no inner journeys at all. I didn't mean simple arcs versus complicated arcs. I meant arc versus no arc at all. Legolas, Frodo are the exact same at the start and end of Lord of the Rings. Neo and Luke change a bunch because they have an arc, but whatever. Well, oh god. So don't crucify me too hard. I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan, and I haven't read any of the Lord of the Rings books. But if... fuck. I think that there are primary character arcs that you are supposed to follow during Lord of the Rings. Like, when Gandalf the Gay goes to being Gandalf the White Supremacist, that's like Gandalf's arc, right? And then the entire last movie is or not maybe the last movie, the second movie, I think it is the last movie, is the arc of following Erdogan, right? Following his journey into Armenia and getting the fucking sword, right? Is like, these are their character arcs where you watch these characters change, right? Like, Erdogan is a lot different in episode 1 of Lord of the Rings versus at the end of episode 3, right? Or Gandalf the dirty outfit is a lot different than Gandalf the First Order by the end of, like, Lord of the Rings episode 2, right? Like, these people have changed quite a bit. Now, every character doesn't develop the same way, right? Like, Elfman and Midget Dude don't change that much, but the other people... I think that the other people do. The other people that are supposed to. Yeah, this dude. This is the guy that gets the sword, right? I enjoy the Lord of the Rings films, but how does Gandalf change other than becoming more powerful? Fuck me, dude. There are answers to that, but I don't know them. When Gandalf fights the ballsack, doesn't he like gain some inner fucking power and insight into how things are going to happen in the world and tries to guide the world to the right place? Wasn't that the whole point of him becoming the fucking white wizard? Am I wrong on that? I thought that I thought that he came out of there with more foresight or some shit. I know that a lot of people say that Gandalf is a deity. I never understood that. Apparently that comes from the books or something. Like, I don't know. Read the Silmarillion and it gets explained, and it's a pretty good read. I could be wrong, but I've always heard that the Salamander is really fucking boring. That book is literally like a history book, and that if you're not already heavily invested in the Lord of the Rings universe, reading the Salamander is going to make you want to fucking kill yourself. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've heard. I was talking to my friend, and he says donating to streamers is for retards. How can I respond to that? I don't know. Why do you need to respond to that? If you want to give me money, dude, to support me because you love me, that's totally fine, dude. I'll fuck your friend up.
Hey Dustin, I just woke up. What were your thoughts on Rogue One?
Fuck off. Go watch the VOD.